Our speaker today is Mr. Leo Ryan. Leo is with Body and Soul Fitness, and you guys have seen the Body and Soul Fitness guys a number of times over the last few months, one of our HeartWise partners, which is fantastic. Leo is a level 3 personal trainer specializing in health and performance coaching. And traditionally, every January, we've always thought with New Year's resolutions, this is a good time to talk about physical activity, the benefits, what's new in doing physical activity, and that's why we've brought Leo in. So Leo, they're all yours.
Thanks very much, Rob. Good evening, everyone. How are we all keeping? Once more, Happy New Year to you. Let me correct Rob one little bit. Health performance, rather than health and performance. I thought long and hard about that one. I spent hours and hours thinking of that one, and you just changed it all like that. The reason why I say that is it's because of my own history with exercise and training, and because of who I feel that I connect with when I exercise and when I coach people. But maybe you'll get to see a little bit more of that as I go along this evening. And at the end, if you have any questions on it, by all means, stick up your hand, and I'll do my best to answer them. What I've found, though, in the environment, when I have people, particularly people who haven't been exercising, is I've come across that they listen to 4 different types of people. And I'm going to talk about the 4 different types of people that you will get your information from. So your sources of information. And how they can affect you, and how for you to decide what's the most appropriate for you. Because that's the important thing about all of this. It's about you and your body and where you want to go with it. And after that, I'll talk about why you're exercising, and I'll give you some suggestions about what's really good for health and what I've found really good for health in terms of what to do. Does that sound good? Yeah, we're okay? Okay. So the 4 different types of people, and these aren't, I'm not picking out anybody in particular, but these are avatars. These are representations, okay? So we got the first is the doctor. The next I'll call the Irish mammy. The next is the A-list actress. And the final one is the trainer. So the doctor. The doctor, my experience of doctors have been wonderful. And they're a wonderful profession, and I can take so much out of them. What I find typically is that they have a huge, huge breadth of knowledge, a huge breadth of top quality knowledge. They research and they find out through studies what way to do things, which is super. But I'm going to tell you about these avatars in the context of one of the girls who I trained with. And her name is Anne. And I'm going to give you Anne's story and bring up these different people within the story. So when Anne came into me, originally, this is back in Ireland when I was training back in Ireland. She came into me, she was 53 years of age. She was 3 stone. Who knows what 3 stone is? It's a lot. It's 42 pounds. So it's 42 pounds overweight, okay? And I later found out that she had a whole host of other complications going on. But she came into me, quite a reserved woman, and says, the typical, I want to lose weight. So I went, okay, well, let me find out a little bit more about you. So I want to lose weight. It was great. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll start looking at introducing you to exercise, because she doesn't do much, and introducing you to changing your lifestyle. So that's your food, and that's stress management, and that's better sleeping, as well as exercise. Because all of these things fill into and impact you and how you are every day, what your mood is like. So she said, that's great. So we started away, and we got her moving and something nice and gentle, and got her going along. And everything was going fantastic. And one day she comes into me and she goes, I have a doctor's appointment, Leo. She goes, I don't know what to do. I says, well, tell me what the problem is. And she says, well, as you know, I'm diabetic. I said, are you? You never told me. I said, you didn't even write on your medical screening form that you're diabetic. Yeah. I'm 5 years pre-diabetic, and then I'm 5 years diabetic. I says, okay. She goes, but I want to get off my medication. I says, all right. It's fair enough. I says, well, why don't you go in and ask for some tests? I said, that's what you need to do first. So she went in, asked for the tests, got them. Great. Then she came back to me and says, right, now what we've got to do on our end is we've got to start getting you towards a lifestyle that's medication free. So she goes, okay. So we kept on recording the food, we kept on improving our exercise, and we kept on improving our sleep and our stress management. Fantastic. 6 months later, it came to the day. Right, this was the second appointment with the doctor. This was to see how we've progressed in the last 6 months. She went into the doctor, and she says, well, doctor, she goes, I want to come off some of my medication. And he goes, no, not a chance in hell. You're never coming off it. Are you kidding me? You've been pre-diabetic for 5, diabetes for 5. No, not happening. She goes, no, please, I really want to come off it. No, not a chance in hell. So let's do some retests and see. Okay. Did the retest, and she goes, doctor, before we get the results, I just want to show you this. She heaves out this big box on the table. She says, what's that? She says, they're my food logs for the last 6 months. He goes, okay, so out of her bag, what's that? Oh, they're my training logs for the last 6 months. Okay. Have you got anything else? Yeah, actually I do. Out of my bag, file that high, what's that? Well, I've been recording what my sleep is like and my quality of sleep and my hours of sleep and what I'm doing to manage my stress. You can just imagine his jaw dropping to the floor. She goes, I want off my medication. He goes, okay, fair enough. Did the tests, came back. A week later, pulls her in and says, okay, you're on 3 pieces of medication for your diabetes. Let's take you off 1. Let's reduce the second and we'll hold off on the third. Okay. I'll check you again in 2 months. We'll see if you continue to improve, if your results continue to improve, and we'll look at the next stage. All right, happy out with that. So she came back, and I got the biggest hug of my life. It was amazing to see. I thought, wow, that's fantastic. It turns out she also had high blood pressure, by the way. There's something else, something else she wanted to throw in the mix later on down the line. So we went through the same process time and time again. And eventually, thank God, she came off all her medication. Every single last one of them. And that for me is health performance. It's not about athletic ability or sporting ability or being the world's strongest man or being the fastest woman in the world. That's about you actively pursuing your dreams for your health. And that's what she did. So that was brilliant. That was the doctor, okay? The doctor, what I want to get across is somebody who, day in, day out, they're a great professional. But they see these people coming through the door, and for years they've seen them come through the door, and they haven't changed their own lives, and so the doctor just medicates in order to keep them at the level where they are. Okay? Absolutely nothing wrong with them. But it takes for you to break through them, to talk with them, to get them on board your side. Okay? They can really influence your health. The next person, I'm calling the Irish mammy. My wife said, you better not go in, you better explain that a bit better because you're in Canada now and they mightn't understand it. The Irish mammy, go on. You will. Have another sandwich. Go on. Have another biscuit with that cup of tea. Go on, you will. Now, you can't leave this house till you have another biscuit. Okay, fair enough. You know the type? Yeah, exactly. I call them the Irish mammy. But are they the same over here? Yeah? Okay, you also have the best friend that's like that as well. We can mix them into the same one. The best friend who you've been going out on a Friday night for the last 30 years. And, you have a glass of wine. Come, I'm having a glass. You have a glass of wine as well. Okay, just to shut her up. Okay, I will, okay. They mean the best thing in the world for you. And for Anne, it was her mother. You see, she used to go Irish set dancing twice a week. And great social scene. She'd go at 10 o'clock at night and they'd fall home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And on the way home, they get a chipper, which is a takeaway fries and battered cod. Nothing like it. So that was the routine, twice a week. So obviously as this whole process went along and I was influencing Anne more and more, and she started bringing some lovely, delicious snacks like carrots and apples and hummus and nuts and seeds and water, and well, let's just rest assured that all our friends saw exactly what was happening. And we're not a bit pleased. Go on. Have another fry. Sure, I ain't getting a bag. Will you have a bag? Why not? I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. They can also influence what you should do with your health. You see, Anne's mum was also a diabetic and also had heart trouble. But sure, Mary down the street told me, don't mind those vegetables. Don't worry about them. Have another French fry. You'll be all right. Sure, that's only... You read that in the papers the whole time. You see, they talk about... They don't change their own life, and they're happy enough where they are. And so you're trying to break through that mold. You're trying to change for your health and your goodness, right? But you're surrounded by people who, they don't mean anything against you. Nothing at all. They just want to have their glass of wine with you. And so they bring you back in, and you find it harder to change. Okay? So I would just want you to be aware of the Irish mammy. Yeah? It's the second person that influences health, and where you can get your information from. Because they're very, very powerful and very, very close to you. But I tried that years ago. It didn't work. There's no point in you doing it. I love them. Love them to bits. The third one, the Hollywood A-lister. This is where you read in the magazines, Jennifer Aniston did this. Charlize Theron did that. Your man, he did this. He put on this much weight. He looks fantastic. You can look like him. You can look like her. You should do this. This is the best diet in the world. You have to go on it. And it's very hard to ignore it. And it's very confusing as well, because one week they're saying, you know, running is great for your health and great for your heart. And the next week is running is bad for it. Don't run too long. Don't go too much. You know? Vegetables are great for you one week. Red meat is great for you the next. Red meat is bad for you this week. And it's promoted by magazines and by newspapers and by trainers and by famous people. That's the avatar there. And they can hugely influence you. And I want you to be aware of those type of people as well. Because for Anne, she came into me one day and she was crying. She goes, it's not working. I says, what's not working? This is 4 months into it. Well, look at me, I haven't lost any weight. Which I have to admit, she didn't lose any weight. She says, okay. I says, what's wrong though? She goes, no, it's not working. I was talking to Mary. Mary said, she's on Jennifer Aniston's diet. It's okay. And what's that all about? What's she doing today? Well, you know, she's cutting out a load of this, and she's running like 6 hours a day. 6 hours a day? Jeez, I have a wife and 2 kids, thanks very much. This is okay. And what else? And yeah, like she's lost 2 stone in the last month. She's lost 14, 28 pounds in the last 2 months. This is okay. So that's fair enough. Look at me, I haven't done a thing. This is all right. So I listened. He says, will we go on it? He says, not a chance in hell. I says, what about all the medication you've come across and come off? I says, what about the dress size you dropped? What about the spark in your face that you have now? What about the energy you have? What about the fact that you're dancing more? That you have more time for your kids? I says, what about all those good things that are super? I says, don't mind the A-list stars. That's fantastic. I says, let them, I says, sure, whatever they're doing, have a little bit of research and find out if it's right for you. Find out if it's right for you. Research it. Talk to people you know and see if that's the right thing for you. But just because they're doing it doesn't mean it's healthy. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. The last one, the trainer. Sure, we're great. Trainers are the best. And we're the worst. And we're the worst. Does anybody know how long it takes to qualify as a trainer in Canada? 3 days. You can get a qualification. Now, it's not a registered profession, okay? So you can actually call yourself a trainer and just without any qualifications. But the minimal qualification is 3 days. It's a weekend. Okay? So when you hear about these phenomenal trainers that the A-listers are hiring, remember the 3 days. I'm not saying that they are really bad or they are really good. I'm just saying find out about them. Find out about who they are and how much experience they have and where they've learned their stuff. Find out for yourself. But there is a new breed of personal trainers coming through, of which I can hold my hand up and say I hope I'm a part of. You see, personal training all started because of bodybuilders who were in not only phenomenal shape, but then they got into growth states as well. But people recognized that, hey, look, this person can look really great. I want to look like them. And then they started making great money because they started training the Hollywood stars. That was the first generation, experience-based. You then had the next generation who were guys in the gym. They didn't even look great, by the way. And they specialized in, and this was all got to do with losing weight. And so they went and did a course, and that was it. They did their 3-day course, or maybe sometimes more, and they were interested in body image, because that's what they were interested in. The most recent trend and the most recent group of personal trainers are ones that are interested in health. And this is where I come from. Because you see, when I was 18, I couldn't walk down those stairs and out to that car park and into a car. Because I spent 6 months in bed with asthma. And that was the start of my journey, and my health journey. And through that, having spent, out of a total of 12 months, I spent 6 of them in bed. For my asthma, I was on 2 inhalers. I also had another set of medication. I developed 8 chest infections that year with 14 doses of steroids and 18 doses of antibiotics. And I loved exercise. I loved sport. Not even exercise, but sport. So I went through that. And I went to my doctor and I says, one day I just said, I cannot take this. And the typical doctor avatar says, there's nothing we can do about it. He says, you know, if you wrapped yourself in that, you know the bubble wrap when you're moving furniture? If you wrapped yourself in bubble wrap and sat there for 5 years, we can't tell if you're going to grow out of it or not. We don't know. I'm sorry, but we don't know. We're doing everything we can for you. One thing he did do was get me onto the top respiratory consultant at the time. The appointment was 18 months away. But something just cracked in me. And I started to look. And I found a breathing technique which was research-based and made sense to me. And I looked into it. And then my mum rang me and says, hey, you remember about that breathing technique? I says, yeah. He says, there's an Irish guy now teaching it. I says, no, I didn't know that. And he's in Ireland teaching it. In fact, he's only an hour away. I says, really? He says, and I have his number. I said, great. So I did the technique. I changed my lifestyle. I changed the way I train, changed the way I eat, changed the way I breathe. By the time I reached the respiratory consultant, I had my own bag. There's my breathing manual. There's my nutrition manual. There's my training. I says, well, what do you think? He says, Leo, you've already done it. He says, I know all about this. He says, here's what I'm going to do. You're going to come off half your medication now. And he says, I'm going to leave the rest up to you. If you can track it and you can maintain what you're doing, take yourself off the rest in 2 months' time. He says, you don't even need to come back and see me. From there, I did come off all my medication. And I went on to study. I changed from doing computer science to going into sports and exercise management. I spent 8 years in university going up to masters. And I still do 3 courses per year and seminars per year to upskill me. And I still only know a drop in the ocean of what's out there in terms of what's great for health. But this is the trainer. This is the latest breed of trainer that's coming out. Somebody who not only has changed their own lives and has that experience of health, but also somebody who has the education to back it up and can tell you why they're making the recommendations and how you're going to feel going through it, what supports you need to go through it, and how you can achieve it. And that's where health performance coaching comes in for me. Through Anne, and I would say I have about 15 other clients that I've worked with over the years that have achieved their own health performance, be it high blood pressure or arthritis or osteoporosis, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's making that decision to do what you need to do and then finding the right information to support you. So they're the 4 types of people. And you can get your information from any 4 of them. From a doctor, from the mammy, from the A-list star, or from the trainer. And I'm only using the trainer as an avatar, remember. It might be somebody else, some other profession. But it's somebody who has experienced and has the knowledge to back it up as to why you should be doing the things you're doing for health. It has to come from you. Some people wait until you have a health problem. Other people have had it and they still don't change. And other people just tip along and learn it themselves. But along the line, I would say if you want to improve your health, take the power back. Start to learn about it yourself. And approach the people who you think have integrity, the people who you think have the knowledge and the experience to help you. You're dead right. So that brings us on to the second part of it, which is, Leo, what should I be doing? Very simple. Do what you love and love what you need to do. The first part, do what you love. First of all, who exercises in the room? Who exercises at all? Okay. At least 90% of the 60 people. Okay. Who loves the exercise they're doing? Who really, really enjoys it? Now, I'm not saying you have to be happy going into it every day, but who really, really enjoys it? Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, about 15 out of 60. Okay. I'm targeting you 15 people. Out of all the exercise you've ever done, how many different forms of exercise have you done? So let's say it's dancing, running, walking, ice skating, football. Think for a second. So if you've done between 1 and 5 forms of exercise, put up your hand, out of those 15 people. Okay, only between 1 and 5. Now just those 15 people. So 2, 4, 5, yeah, a third. Between 5 and 10 forms of exercise. 3, 4, 10 or more. And 1. So most is between 1 and 5. Okay? Out of the people who don't really love exercise, how many forms of exercise have you tried? Between 1 and 2 forms of exercise. Put up your hand. Good? 4. Between 2, 3 and 5. 2, 4, 6, 8. Between 5 and 8. And let's say 8 and upwards. Okay. So in the first group, there was a third of you said between 1 and 5, right? In the second group, it was more like half of the people. When I said 10 or more, there was 1 or 2 still stuck up their hand in the first group. Did any stick up in the second group? No. Think how many exercises there are out there. There's tons. Not only is there dancing, but there's all the different forms of dancing. There's salsa, there's ballroom, there's Irish dancing, there's ballet, there's a whole host of them. You got yoga, you have Tai Chi, you have walking, you have swimming, you have running, you have gym, you've got bowls, you've got curling, you've got ice skating, you've got infinite amounts of different types of exercise. If you don't love your exercise, you will not continue it through. You won't. Why would you do something long term that you really hate? Do you think that's good for you? I would say it's probably worse for you to do that than to do nothing else. Seriously, I'd say, why would you bring that anger and resentment into it? What I would say is find the things you love to do. Find one exercise you love to do and do it. Enjoy it. Have a bit of fun with it. My granddad. There's a guy that he just loved exercise and loved sport. At age 83, he was found in his house one day and found by his wife and of course called all the kids around. He had 6 daughters and a son. So you can imagine the 6 daughters. Oh, Daddy, are you okay? Okay, can I get you this? I'm sure he was loving it, like a king. But he was in awful pain for about 4 days and they couldn't understand what was up with him. Eventually he let it slip. I got up on the treadmill and I decided I'd go from a walk to a run, see if I still have it. 83 years of age, I'll see if I still have it. He just loved exercise. He loved his walking. He loved movement. I'd say the same to you. Okay? The second part is love what you need to do. I would say more specifically, love the training you need to do. Okay? So, we all here either have had a cardiac event or are a relation of that. Is that right? Yeah? Okay. Hands up who has any other health complication, be it arthritis or osteoporosis or asthma or anything else other than the heart, basically. Any other injury, hips, replace knees, whatever it is. Yeah, we got more than half anyway. Okay. When we do cardio exercise, what are we training? What are we exercising?
Heart.
The heart. The circulation, the lungs. Okay. Are we focusing in on our muscles? Are we focusing in on it? We're working them, but we're not focusing in on it. What about our improving our joints? Are we focusing in on improving our joints? Not really, if you think about it. Are we focusing in on improving our hormonal system? Not really. Are we focusing in on exercising all our energy systems? Not really. There's a lot of systems we're missing out, right? You're not just your heart. It's a very important part of you. I can't do without it. But it's not the only part. Okay? So sometimes we have to do for our health, not necessarily the things we love doing. Okay? But you have to start taking an open approach to it and say, hey, look, this is really going to help my health. This is really going to benefit my health. And so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. Why? Because it helps me to play with the grandkids, or it helps me to get out into the garden, or it helps me to enjoy life that little bit better. In research, particularly for cardiac patients, What's recommended most in terms of exercise? Walking. Okay. So that's aimed at improving our heart and our lungs, yeah? Or cardio. Why is that? Why is most of the research based around walking or cardio exercise? Why do we think? Easy to measure. Yes, you're on the ball. Very easy to measure. Why? Because the variables involved are speed, resistance, or your incline, right? And time. Any other variable? Distance is a function of speed and resistance. It will come as a result of it. You're right, but these are the basics. Speed, resistance, and time. It's very, very simple. Does that make it the best form of exercise out there to improve your heart? It makes it the easiest to measure, which is great for researchers because they don't have to worry about anything else. Okay? The form I most promote is resistance training. Why do I promote it? First of all, when it's done well, it can hit all your systems. It can improve your joint function. It can improve your heart function, your lung function, your muscular system, your skeletal system, your hormonal system, your lymphatic system. It can improve all of them. But it's the hardest one to measure. When it is looked at in research, you look at the design of the research. And typically, in a resistance training, they look at 3 sets of 10 as a basic on a machine-based exercise. What are the variables? What are the things we can control in resistance training? Have you guys had experience of resistance training? A ton? Okay. What do you control on it? Weight. What else? Repetitions. The amount of times you do it in a row. Next up?
Frequency.
Frequency is in how many days a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Areas of the body.
Okay, so body parts. Will I throw a few up there? Will I speed it up? Sets. The amount of time, so you do like 10 and then you take a break and you do 10 more. Okay. Tempo. The speed of an exercise. Exercise combination affects it. How you put 2 exercises together back to back affects it. The range of movement of an exercise. That's a squat. That's a squat. Yeah, yeah, exactly. 10 of them, I'll do them all day long, right? Actually, in Russia, did you see what they're doing for the C.H.A.R.G.E games? Yeah. Oh, great. For the C.H.A.R.G.E games, you want to get on the public transport, you've got a choice. You can pay your fare, or you can do 30 squats. I like that one. You got to ring the bell?
I think there's a bell or something. If you don't go down far enough, it doesn't.
Even better. You know where I'd be getting people, right? Okay, range of movement of an exercise. You can see it's building and building and building, okay? There's a huge amount of variables in resistance training that need to be controlled. 3 days does not get you to learn how to put these all together, okay? But when it's done right, it can really impact your health enormously. Not only your cardiac function, but also you're looking at managing arthritis better and managing osteoporosis better, managing your asthma better, managing any additional illness or dysfunction that you might have. Okay? So I would say to you, if you really wanted to improve your health, not just your heart, you need to pick one exercise that you love. You got to keep on trying them till you find one. And then you've also got to resistance train in a safe manner. This is no good for you if you got bad knees and bad hips. Okay? So in a safe manner. But is this good for you? And if that's all you can do, yeah, absolutely it is. Okay? And this is what the guys will help you out on the floor to do. Okay? When we're out on the floor later. Okay. That pretty much wraps that all up. Okay? I'm just going to recap that a little bit and see if we got those little take-home points. The first was we've got 4 types of people that are going to influence you. We've got our doctor, great education, been in his profession a long time, is waiting for you to take life by the scruff of the neck. Yeah? He's waiting for you, and then he'll help you out. Next up, the mammy. Love her, leave her there. You know, keep yourself to yourself and just change yourself gradually. Okay, that's the best way I would say dealing with them. If they've got lovely little tidbits of knowledge that you can get, great. Find them out, see if they suit you, and then either take them up or leave them behind you. A-list movie stars. Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah? Might get you where you want to be, but will it get you healthy? Very, very questionable. Research it yourself. The trainer, that's the professional who's educated and has experience. In other words, they're going to tell you what to do and why you're doing it. And if ever you question them, they're not going to run a mile. They're going to say, well, actually, you can find out a little bit more information here, or a little bit more there, and a little bit more there. But it all comes back to you. What exercises would I recommend that you do? Find one exercise that you absolutely love and want to do it for the rest of your life. And then if you want to improve your health, resistance train. Absolutely resistance train. If you know how, or if you can get a professional that knows how. But no matter what, keep it safe. All right? Listen, thank you very much. We're going to have a little bit of a walk around. I think Rob is going to just say what we're going to do next. But from me and the guys at Body and Soul Fitness, thank you very much, and have a great evening.